Boom, baby. We are live. Welcome to Interview with the Man, episode 498, where we're joined by my good friend Ryan Fowler from innermasculine.com. Here, you know what? I'll change your username for you just so people can know how to find you. Even though you are booked solid until June, right? People cannot get you until June.
I have people offer me $1,000, 2,000 to get squeezed in, and some I'm taking and some I'm turning down just because for emergency sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Because man, I gotta get my digital product recorded. I gotta get stuff done so where I can like give it to the masses and help the masses, not just one at a time. Although I love helping people one at a time. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So we are here and we're going to be talking about the 5 types of subconscious traumas that can mess with you and really derail your entire life. So before we get going, don't forget this Thursday, the 24th, okay? We have got the Inner Game Healing Summit going down. Go to innergamehealing.com, get on the waiting list to get on this program. What it entails, let me show you exactly. Okay, so we are the dynamic duo. We're really the ones that started this whole revolution, and I was the monkey that Ryan launched into space, and it was a success.
Fuck yeah, man.
The dynamic duo, baby. We are going live on March 1st. MLD and Inner Masculine, the man that I'm joined with. We're going to talk about identifying your subconscious trauma. We're going to go deeper, though. He actually has a 3-hour-long presentation
or more minimum 3,
and then
we're diving deep as fuck.
And then Ryan and we will be doing the Q&A for all the members of the live Zoom session on day 1, and together we're going to do our best to help you pinpoint what is your biggest inner game issue that you're dealing with. I will be leading the spearhead on that, and Ryan will be running assist because he's obviously going to be a little bit tired after doing the 3 hours presentation, but he will still be there. Ryan is a trooper. He's actually laying down using his laptop right now because he has a pinched nerve in his back. Herniated disc, excuse me. And he's dealing with that. However, this is huge, guys. So when you sign up for the Inner Game Healing course, this is what you get. I've just filmed the course today. So you get 1 hour long of video recorded stuff, pre-recorded stuff that we're going to help you, including self-hypnosis audios, mind movie examples, everything. You get access to these 5 live Zoom training webinars. They will all be recorded and put on a private Vimeo server, and you can watch them again on replay as long as you have access to the links. And we have a Telegram chat that we're dedicating to guys who have these subconscious hangups, these mental problems that we're going to try our best to help alleviate. Ryan and I have been friends and talking since 2019. And we really have been at the forefront of something huge. And I know this may sound like gimmicky or cheesy or whatever, but Ryan and I are literally pinpointing what is going on with people. We're getting precise with our diagnosis, and we're getting even more precise with our healing methodologies. We are really aiming to change the world. And in addition to that, Ryan and I have used his services on me. He's helped men, and he's also helped women as well. This is not just a men's only thing. However, we are targeting mainly men because there's this part of men, self-help and hypnotherapy, addressing traumas and all that. It's pretty much a huge part of the manosphere and red pill space and global space that's missing. So many people are truly fucked up, and this is the real epidemic. This is the real pandemic. People with trauma. And now more than ever, the broken family is more common across the world. Yep. And it's broken people raising broken people and hurt people hurting people. And it's just a chain of suffering going on. And we have really found out, like, we really believe that this is something we can do to knock this out the park and really get results. Ryan,
what kind of results have you seen with the guys that I've coached?
I mean, the biggest one that was way out of left field was Ryan from Elevate Cyber, Ryan Apollo.
Oh yeah, okay.
He when I literally met him in real life and I saw him and I was like, my God, like, dude, I met him when he choked up in a nightclub and he was like freaking out about can't do a cold approach and he was so insecure about his looks, being what he claims to be short and all that stuff. And I was just like, whoa. When I saw, because he disappeared for a while and he did
Now
all this
he's like
work
a
on
fucking
himself.
boss man.
When he talks, I'm like, who is this guy? Who the fuck is this guy? And so confident, so happy, making so much more money, having options in his dating life, a lot of options as
Doubled
well,
his income.
double his income.
And
I mean,
we're not guaranteeing that, but a lot of guys, shit like that happens. Like I'm making 40% more 5 months later. I'm making twice a year later. It
yeah,
happens
I
to a
mean,
lot of guys. Not all, but a lot.
there's so much happening with what's going on here, and you know, it's just unbelievable. And I know there are people probably rolling their eyes at me saying, oh, maybe this guy's up to another marketing gimmick or something like that. But I know in my heart of hearts that we are right in what we're doing. I have seen that this shit is like a fucking modern day miracle, quite frankly.
I'll upload a testimonial today on my channel. It's just gonna be raw audio, but I'll upload it just so guys can go. Give me a few hours, just so they can see some of the results.
Yeah.
A lot of the testimonials have been on your show. I'm gonna upload a new one today,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm just saying here that I have realized that the core issue of men not having success with my programs always boils down to something deep inside. And it's crazy. The stars are aligning, right? Because when I first met Paul,
Mhm.
I just thought Paul was just like this fucking meathead idiot guy. And
No, man, he's smart.
I've said this publicly about Paul, and this is not a disrespect to him at all. But then I started talking to him, and Paul was just so fucking nice to me always. And
Mhm.
then I started, getting more deep with him, and I'm just like, whoa, he is seeing the same way Ryan sees, and he addresses all the traumas. He literally helps people cope with the fact that they have taken human life, which is huge, right?
Yeah, man.
And so I never have taken human life, and I don't plan on it. And God knows I don't want to deal with the trauma associated with that.
Yeah.
So, um, that being said, right? I mean, I feel guilty when I yell at my dog. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry.
I know. Me too,
um,
man.
but what we're onto here, other people are noticing it, and we have created, like I said, like the inner game healing summit. We're the first people to do this in the Manosphere and Red Pill history, and we really are going to lead the charge with some great stuff. And this ties into everything, guys. This
Mhm.
ties into your ability to cold approach, for you guys that get approach anxiety, for you guys that get bedroom anxiety,
We handle it
premature
all the time.
premature ejaculation, can't get it up, can't come, can't do proper stock trading, can't do proper crypto trading, can't stick to a diet, can't stop eating, can't eat enough, or can't get an appetite. I mean, this is all tied in together, and it's truly mind-blowing. Ryan, you want to just, because obviously you've been doing this for a while. You've been an ongoing guest and like one of the leading members of the Masculine Empowerment Network, and you also came up with the name for the Masculine Empowerment Network. Um, you've been a very, very pinnacle force behind my success and the success of so many men out there. Just tell people about like your experience and what you've really learned even up to this point at 2022 with what's going on.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. First, let's just give the disclaimers just to be safe,
Mm,
because neither of us are licensed psychiatrists, neither of us are licensed psychologists or any licensed or regulated profession. So we don't diagnose or treat any disorder, any emotional, psychological, etc., etc. And here's what I tell people. Because if someone says, "Hey, I have manic depression, I need you to cure mine," it's like, well, I'm not allowed to treat and cure manic depression or schizoaffective disorder or whatever. But even though I've cured my own manic depression, and the stories we share are stories of clients, but different people are different. You know, I define success with one session, because a lot of people only have one session. Some come back for several. I define that success as one session. People are permanently substantially better. Doesn't mean I've cured everything, but still, for someone with one session be permanently substantially better, and it's like more than 90% success rate, probably I don't know, 93, 4, I don't know. That's pretty massive. But really what I do, what I tell people I do that I'm allowed to do, is at a very deep core level, I have people come to me who don't love themselves. They believe they're worthless or they don't have value. Now, you know, everyone's different. And they say, oh, I have approach anxiety. Well, the real issue there is if they get rejected, they feel they're a reject. If they fail, they feel they're a failure. And that is some fundamental lack of belief in your own value. It's fundamental lack of self-love, beating yourself up, not forgiving yourself. So really what I do is I teach others at the deepest level to unconditionally love themselves. I know it sounds woohoo, but I'm going to go over some very alpha benefits to that. Unconditionally get you to love yourself, believe in yourself, forgive others, believe in your ability, let go of anything that doesn't serve you. And then we put in good self-belief. We put in the good stuff. And it's not just for people, you know, who are massively messed up. I had someone come to me who made $100 million last year. And I did a session for him a year ago, and then he made his $100 million, but he's already mega rich. And it was very interesting because for 5 hours, I talked to this guy, did a deep dive to see, you know, what is the psyche like of a guy who has, you know, 8-9 figure net worth. I don't know his exact net worth, but I know he's baller. Anyways, because I know of him, you know, he's a big deal. His inner world was fantastic, except there was a couple things that were really holding him back. He felt responsible for others, even if they were losers, and these other losers would drag him down. And so I was able to help him and go back and, you know, kind of resolve that so that he had boundaries where it's like, hey, if someone's being a dick, if they're not doing their job, not pulling their weight as a businessman, I got to let them go. I can't let them drag me and my company down and make things worse. That's not how it works. You know, I fixed that but his internal world was immaculate, man. I mean, I asked him, what happens when you fail? And he says, I'm encouraged because I know each failure leads to success, gets me that much closer. And he really believed that. That's why he's 9 figure guy. Anyways, so we everyone has some stuff that they need to work on. You know, even like these really baller people. I mean, I have super alpha guys come to me that feel pretty good overall, but there's a few things that they're struggling with. So yeah, Brent Caldwell right there. Hourly rate went up 54%. I'm not making guarantees for anyone because everyone's different. And there are, you know, maybe 5-7% who come to me and they're so disconnected from their core that, man, we got to spend some time getting them connected to their core before, you know, how they feel about stuff, what their deep down beliefs are. If some people disconnected because it's too messed up in there and too painful. So sometimes we got to work on that. So I'm just kind of letting people know that, you know, everyone's different. Some people need more work than others. And, you know, we're not medical professionals to, you know, treat anything in particular. I'm really just showing people how to, at a deep level, really believe in themselves. But man, once you get that in you, it changes everything. It really, really, really does. It did it for you. It did it for people you personally know at a very intimate, close level. It did it for me. My income's 4 times what it was when I first started, you know? And so, you know, I've had people tell me they're not even the same person. I had one guy, I just did a session last weekend, and it was his 4th session. And he says, I'm not even the same person.
Yeah. I mean, I could say the same thing, right? I mean, you and I, we joke about it in private, but we talk about how everybody would talk about, angry Tuesdays and where's angry MLD. And I was driven in 2019 and 2020 by a lot of anger. I would even say
Yeah.
in the beginning of 2021, I was truly driven by a lot of anger, a lot of what you call dirty fuel. And it's funny, right? I had
That
a
fuel
kid.
kept you alive. It was necessary for a while when you had your trauma. But now
Yeah.
you've got clean nuclear fuel.
Let's talk about that, right? Because I had a
Mhm.
conversation with one of the guys in my Patreon last night. He's a young man. His name is
Mhm.
Emmanuel. And he's the youngest guy in our Patreon. He's 18 years old. And he was saying that he just did another hypnotherapy session with somebody. And he said it really mellowed him out. But then he said, but the thing is, I used to be so driven by my angst and anger and kind of
Mhm.
toxicity to an extent, right?
Yeah.
And now he's kind of a little bit more chilled out, more relaxed. What do you say to people who are afraid to lose their toxic fuel versus getting this new, clean, energy driven, purpose driven, like love driven fuel? As woo as that sounds, love driven fuel, but it's true.
It's really the new fuel, the clean fuel is I believe in myself and I believe I can now go out and get what I want.
Mm,
And then when it's like this. In the past, say someone's a couch potato. Tom Bilyeu, right?
yeah,
Worth half a billion, 400 million, whatever. He was a couch
yeah.
potato.
Mm,
Didn't believe in himself. And then he's like, I'm such a loser. My wife's at work, and here I am watching TV all day. Can't even make a sandwich for her. But somehow he actually teaches self belief like all the time.
mm.
I
He was
mean,
thinking he's a loser with that net worth.
no, he was a loot before he had net worth.
Oh, okay,
He was a couch potato.
okay.
And he was so ashamed. He's like, I got to get off my ass. And his wife's dad was a rich guy. And he's like, I
Mm,
got to prove myself. And somehow along the line, I don't know his exact process, but I do know that he had a massive mindset shift. And which is why his Impact Theory University is mindset, 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 mindset. He changed his mindset, got to believe in himself, got to work. And now, he became, you know, massively wealthy. But the thing is, what are you going to do with your time? If let's say me, if I believe I can't get the really cool stuff in the world and I'm no good and I'm not good enough, well, then it's hopeless. Let's just watch TV all day. Or let's
mm.
go in this job I don't really like, but it pays the bills. And then, you know what? I can play video games when I get home, or I can whack off, or get drunk, or whatever. And that makes life tolerable, but it's kind of shitty. That's where a lot of people are.
Tolerable, right? That's
Tolerable.
so crazy. That's so
And
crazy.
then
People
some people are
drink,
still miserable. Yeah. It's like,
they drink, they shop, they fucking anything they can cover their eyes for a little bit to not look at themselves and look at their lives and be like, wait, I hate everything, or I'm really unhappy with a lot of things. But they just they 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 blind themselves. They push their emotions down. They delude themselves, you
yeah.
know?
And some people have anger because they're like, these people screwed me over and I'm going to show them, or just
Mm.
whatever. What was your anger about? How did that drive you?
Well, because I grew up, right? And I just well, I grew up in a situation where I couldn't trust anybody. I couldn't
Yeah.
trust my mom. I couldn't
Mhm.
trust my siblings. I couldn't trust my cousins. So I was always like, like a wounded dog in the corner, just like
Mhm.
snarling at everybody, and just like I just I was so angry that
Yeah.
everybody was always against me. Even when people were not against me, I was like, okay, I'll prove everyone wrong, and I'll show
There you
everyone
go.
that I fucking am better than them, because there's two types of people in life. Like there's the dog that you beat and the dog that and he snarls and he gets mad at you, and there's
Mhm.
dog that you beat and he rolls over and shows his belly.
True.
I'm the kind of dog that goes out fighting. I will bite you to the day I fucking die,
I
right?
rolled over when I was younger.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
We're all different people, but that was what's driven me, this angst. I just always want to be, and even now, to be honest with you, I always want to be the best. I always want to be number one. I always want to dominate, and when I'm not, like, there was a time in my life where my sister was making more money than me in the family, and
Mhm.
it drove me fucking crazy. I was like, I am losing to this like my baby sister is beating me, and it like
Mhm.
drove me to like, be better. And I think it's a good thing, but it has to be fueled properly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, so here's the thing: is anger is empowering. Anger's like,
Mm,
and it makes you want to do something. But here's the problem:
mhm.
is for anger to keep working, you have to stay wounded, and there needs to remain injustice.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah.
What happens if you actually start to kick ass in life and get everything you want? Where's your fuel now?
Yeah.
You overcome. There's no more injustice. What are you gonna do now? What's your motivation? What's your fuel now?
Mm,
Now you're screwed. So you have to hold on to this injustice. Others need to suffer, or pay for what they did, and that's not a good place to be in. But honestly, for you, your anger at that age is what kept you moving forward, man.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But let's say we get rid of all of that, and now it's like, hey, man, I believe I can kick major ass in life, and I believe I can get attractive women. I believe I can make money, get all the good things. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit at home, or are you going
Mhm.
to go out and get what you want? The reason people don't go out and get what they want is they don't believe in themselves. They don't be, you got to do something with your time. Is it
Yeah.
really that much more unpleasant, to be focused and driven? Maybe it's more effort, but it's also pretty invigorating at
Mhm.
times. And maybe it is hard, but if you believe in yourself and your value, then deep down we know that what we want is worth it, right? If it's what we really want and we really believe we can get it, people are going to go for it. But it's not what your mom says you should want, or your dad, or anyone else or society says you want. You need to go after what you want. And if you have that self-belief, and you realize also, because some people are delusional, you realize, okay, I got to do this work to get what I want.
Mhm.
But man, you get on that path, and you believe in yourself, you're kicking ass, it feels good. You get the right mindset and it feels good. Doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
not always work. I have lots of work I don't like to do,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh
but I
yeah.
do it because I want that end benefit. And what else I mean, watch TV, play computer. I mean, I could do that, right? I got enough savings. I could just move to Mexico, which I'm probably going to do next year anyways. Live for like 12 years in Mexico playing video games, whacking off all day. I would be bored as hell. I would be so freaking bored. If
Yeah.
Here's the thing, I used to play a lot of video games when I was traumatized.
Oh really?
Yeah,
What
I
did you
mean,
play?
man, I played Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Warhammer, just all sort, Civilization. I played like hundreds of hours of Civilization games,
Mm.
just all sorts of stuff. But I played the Call of Duty, although I sucked at multiplayer. If I play single player, just all that stuff. But
Mhm.
now I try and play that stuff, and it just bores me,
Yeah. I really
because
understand that.
when you believe in yourself and when you're kicking ass in life, reality in many ways is better.
Yeah.
You know, it's like um, I could play a racing game, or I can get with Brent in my 911 Turbo, and he takes it to 160 while I'm screaming at him to stop, which is more fun, right?
Of course we would never do that. And
Yeah, of course.
it's definitely
That's just
it's definitely not on my Instagram.
it's like you can watch porn, or it's like, geez, if I can get the real, but a lot of people are doing this stuff to, because they don't believe in themselves, or they have inner pain, inner turmoil.
Mm,
Anger is tied to turmoil. Anger is tied
mm,
to injustice and betrayal, and and so ultimately, like people with
mm,
the victim mindset, they get power from being a victim, because now everyone feels sorry for them. This woke culture, a lot of these far left liberals, they use victimhood for power. The problem
mm.
is you have to stay a victim, otherwise you lose that power of being a victim.
Yeah.
Now, if you're no longer a victim, then no one feels sorry for you. No one has to do what you say out of obligation or guilt or shame,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to stay a victim. Well, so even though you get some power from it, ultimately you're pretty screwed in that viewpoint. And to from that standpoint, and to some extent with anger, if you're using anger at fuel, then you're always going to have some big injustice against you. You've been wronged, and you have to have that in you. Well, isn't it better just to not be
Mm.
wronged anymore and just be whole and pure, kicking ass, getting what you want?
Yeah.
You better
It,
believe it, man.
um, it's so important to remove these traumas.
Yeah,
So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the list and identify these traumas, but first, more importantly, Ryan, you're the expert here, and I just know this. I know that I'll just use dating as an example, right? Because
sure.
I'm the dating and relationship expert here. I know that when you have these traumas, these are insecurities, okay? And when you have insecurities, you have to put up a mask. You have to lie, you have to pretend and put on a mask, and you got to pretend to be somebody you're not,
In order
right?
to be accepted, because you feel the real you is not acceptable. Yeah.
Exactly. So you put out this image that you think you are. And Paul and
Mhm.
I talked about this last week on the show, right? In the sense of that you're literally acting like a fucking psychopath when you're putting on a fake mask and
Mhm.
pretending to be something you're not. And the thing is, the only thing that can keep this lie moving forward is more lies. And you just add more psychological stress to yourself to keep the relationship going, which is built on lies. And eventually,
And people get exhausted keeping that up.
you get exhausted, and then it takes toll on the relationship, and the relationship ends up falling apart.
Yeah,
This
you
is why,
waste resources living this false life. Yeah.
and I see so many guys do this. I see so many
Mhm.
girls do this. It's fucking detrimental. And it just, and the thing is, when you are, pretending to be somebody you're not, everybody involved gets hurt. If you're the one
Mhm.
lying, you get hurt. The person you're involved with gets hurt. The people that know
Mhm.
about the relationship gets hurt. And and this thing is like so common nowadays. It's happening in America. It's happening around the fucking globe, quite frankly.
Yeah,
Um, and
everywhere.
this the root of this is like having some unresolved unconscious trauma inside of you that will sabotage. I just use relationships as an example, but this is also your work life, your relationship life, your your diet, your exercise regime, your side business, your money management, you know, your relationship with your kids, the relationship with your fucking pets. I mean, every single thing is truly affected by this. But we live in a time where there are people that are so dysfunctional. There's dysfunctional people everywhere that it's kind of become like the norm. You know what I mean? So tell
Yeah.
me,
Hey, as long as they look good on Instagram and Facebook, though, right?
oh, it makes me fucking sick to my stomach because people just think, okay, as long as I look cool on Instagram, as long as I can as long as I can show the world a digital lie,
Mhm.
and then I'll go home and I'll cry myself to sleep, or I'll drink myself to sleep, or I'll do drugs and sniff coke and fucking whatever
Mhm.
the case may be, eat myself to sleep, right?
Yeah.
Cut myself, self harm. The list goes on and on and on. As long as they have like their digital front, or they look nice, they put on a good suit, they put on a nice
Mhm.
dress, man or woman, and they go to work like, yeah, I'm fine, everything's great, yeah, 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 party, party, I'm cool, I'm cool, I'm just like you. But eventually there comes to a breaking point where they
Yeah.
snap,
Everyone's hiding their trauma till they, and many people after a while can't hide anymore, and then they're screwed.
and then they
You
snap,
see
and
these
it's
Hollywood elites, Marilyn Monroe killed herself, Robin Williams, they got shit inside.
yep.
You've seen Mel Gibson and his meltdowns,
Hmm.
Owen Wilson, he tried to commit suicide, went into rehab. All these like people who are gorgeous, famous, Kurt Cobain blew his head off. Gorgeous, famous, wealthy people, and they, but they got unresolved trauma and it comes to a head. Amy Winehouse, drug
Yeah.
addict,
So let's talk about that.
alcoholic.
There's five types of subconscious traumas that we have to identify today and that can affect us in a negative manner, right? In addition to that, can you just go into the detail from your expertise how these traumas actually ruin your life, even if you just leave them unaddressed, how they like seep in and fuck everything up?
Yeah. So there's five core traumas we're going to talk about, subconscious traumas. And one thing I want to say is, Jonathan, I know, you promise a lot in your courses, but you actually under promise and over deliver at times. Because one thing is, we're going to talk about, identifying the five traumas, how people can identify which of the five traumas they have, how it manifests. But there also is going to be a self-hypnosis audio that we're giving everyone at the Inner Game Summit.
Mhm.
And there are some people that need need someone who has experience guiding them, doing a live session for them. There are some people that's how they're going to get cleared because their issues are complicated. But in this Inner Game Summit, we're going to show people how to find, we start out with, what do you struggle with? For example, approach anxiety. That's a very, very common one. And then we say, hey, which of these five underlying traumas are at the core of your problem? Because once you identify it, I'd say 70%, 80% of the people, once they connect to their core trauma, they listen to my self-hypnosis audio. If they know how to use it, which we're going to train them how to use it in the summit, 70, 80% of people can clear a lot of their trauma out on their own. And Ryan Apollo, we did an interview with him about approach anxiety. I mean, I played that testimonial on your show, and he's like, I couldn't clear my, I did a session, 2 sessions, and I cleared some other stuff that really helped him out. But he still had approach anxiety, and he was trying to use my self-hypnosis audio to clear it, and he didn't understand. So then I showed him how to do it, and then all on his own, he listened to my self-hypnosis audio one time. His approach anxiety went from 8 out of 10 down to a 3 out of 10. One session, just listening to a voice of me speaking, finding his trauma, using the methods I teach, clearing it out. And then after that, he's like, boom, the very next night, I went out to a club, approached 10 girls, the anxiety 3 out of 10, very manageable. The very next night after that, I approached another 10 girls at a club by myself. And before, he could only approach women when he was with his friends, and he'd be lucky if he got 1 to 3 that night. Now he's on his own doing 10 a night, no problem. His anxiety from 8 of 10 to 3 of a 10, listening to a freaking audio, cleared it out permanently.
Yeah.
And the key, what we say, and I did not invent this phrase because there's other people doing what I do. There's not nearly enough, and many of them don't do it at the level I do. I do it at a very high level because I dive really deep. But once you find out what this core shit in you, these wounds, these traumas, false core beliefs, whatever, we're going to talk about it. Once you're connected to that, then we can clear it out. If you're not connected to it, even with me, people come to me, if we can't get them connected to the core stuff that's messing them up, I can't help them. Now, more than 90% of the time, very first session, I can get them connected and then help them. Some people, one of my brothers, I had to do 3 sessions, and I wasn't experienced. This was a few years back. I wasn't nearly as experienced as I was now, but he was shut down. So I had to get him connected to clear it out. So even people who can't connect to their trauma right away because they're just disconnected, they're not used to feeling their feelings. It's this small percentage of people, but it does happen. They can practice getting connected, and then they can get better. So it's not hopeless for those people. But understanding this core trauma and what it is and finding it in you, a lot of people don't even realize what it is, and then they feel it and they're like, oh, holy shit. Some people right away, they're in pain and they know what it is. That is key to healing, is to cut all this bullshit and get right to the core root issue. that's what I do. So how does this mess people up? Well, if you feel, for example, one of the number one core trauma most people struggle with is I'm not good enough. We have 3 types of toxic shame. That is number one. I'm not good enough. 90% of people have it at least a little. And 50% of people have it at least moderately severe. I'm not good enough. I'm inadequate. And there's nuance to it. For one person, it may be I'm always falling short. I'm never quite good enough. Another person, it may be I'm supposed to be this thing over here. This is what I'm supposed to be. But I know deep down I'm this other thing. I'm not who I'm supposed to be. I am at my core is not acceptable. It could be I feel like a loser all the time. I feel worthless. Or it could be when I fail, I feel worthless. When I'm rejected, only then. So how does that mess people? You know, what do we see on the surface that messes people up? Well, guys come to me and they're like, I can't approach women. I'm terrified. Okay, well, there's several principles I go by, but this is one of the most important ones you need to understand. Our brain has evolved to motivate us towards pleasure, and above all, to motivate us to avoid pain, including emotional pain. And toxic shame is the most painful emotion we have, by far. So I won't say by far, but it's definitely the most painful emotion.
Extremely painful because people, when
you felt it, man. I mean, we do so much to cover it, right? And when it's uncovered, if you have a lot of it, it sucks. Yeah.
I will tell you guys publicly here that, you know, due to the craziest part was I didn't even think something was wrong with me. And I just thought, in my core, it didn't feel good enough, right? I felt like I just need to fuck more girls. And then when I fucked a bunch of girls, well, these girls are not hot enough and not young enough. So I need to fuck hotter girls, younger, more frequently. They need to be more obedient, right? And you're just constantly trying to take these external things.
I'll feel good enough when this stuff happens.
Yeah, I'll be happy when. No.
And then you became a millionaire and you still felt not good enough. But then we went inside and we got to that core and cleared it out. What happened, man?
Then you know, to double it down, which was crazy, I'm a millionaire and I have a fuckload of bitches around me and I still feel like shit. And I'm just like, okay, I'm fundamentally broken. You know, you're like, I've made all the money, I fucked all the girls, and I still, don't get me wrong, I felt good at times. And obviously I had some great confidence about me, but there were times where I'm just like, I do not feel good enough. And it's like, it's like a feeling of despair. It's like a dark feeling deep inside you that nothing can really cure or alleviate. And it's really like psycho. It's really crazy. But
yeah, at that point you're like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? I made the money, I got the girls. What can I do now? Shit, I'm out of bullets.
And you know, the great thing is, though, once we went in there, like I said, November is when we did the most work, you and I.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize this. So I had like this kind of sexual hunger that I thought was natural, right? And I just always had this desire to go out there, hunt, and fuck new girls, right? But after we got this subconscious toxic shame trauma out of me, I really chilled out and I no longer felt that like hunger. And I was like weirded out by it. I was like, maybe I'm just feeling off. So I went out. In November, I had sex with like a bunch of girls.
You didn't need their validation anymore because you already felt good enough.
Yeah, it was weird because the girls were like really good looking girls too.
You sent me some pics. I'm like, God damn it, send her my way. That's
You
okay. I've gotten some good ones too, but you get better still, you
it's
know.
okay. Things happen.
Oh,
It's I
don't
mean,
worry, you know, it's all good. I'm not suffering, trust me. You've seen some pics of some girls I've been with, but
no, you get some beautiful girls too. But the
yeah.
point I'm trying to make is like these girls were stunningly gorgeous
Yeah.
and young and like, like the textbook girl that, came from good families and like, just, you name it, they had it and it just no longer fulfilled me. It no longer like gave me that high. You know what I mean? Like it just wasn't satisfying anymore because I was already satisfied. And it was weird too because I had this habit that I built up my entire life of going out there and fucking a bunch of girls. Literally been doing it for 35 years, right?
Hmm.
Well, not 35 years, but from so lost my virginity when I
You
was
started at
17.
6.
17, so 18 years. 18
Yeah.
years I'm out there fucking girls, right? My whole life. And suddenly I'm at 35, basically almost 36, and I'm just like, oh wait, like something's different here.
Yeah.
And it was clearing out that trauma, clearing out that neediness to an extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
And
still like sex, but it's in its proper place now. It's not like obsessively needing it to feel good enough.
yeah, no, at that point I realized I could only enjoy sex with like women I actually had feelings for. You know what I
Interesting.
mean?
Yeah. Cool.
And so you know, the girl that I was dating at the time was the only one I really cared about in
Hmm.
November. And like, when I was with her, like it was satisfying. And the other girls, they were just like, I don't know, just like eating white rice or like eating plain cornflakes, just
It's like
nothing
it
really.
filled me up, but
Just
you
yeah,
know,
it was just sustenance, if to an
yeah.
extent, but even that word is like, it was just like eating empty calories. It just wasn't. I don't know. And it was
It's
kind
like
of
I
like
got filet mignon at home. Why am I eating this rice?
exactly. And
Yeah.
so, but the thing is, I think a lot of guys come to this corner and they of the internet and they think, oh, if I just get girls, then I'm gonna feel better.
Yeah.
And then we teach them the skill to fuck a lot of girls, and they go and they fuck a lot of girls,
It's so
but
miserable.
then they becomes like this kind of toxic cycle where they're like constantly out there dealing with all these damaged women and fucking all these girls, and they're like a vampire that needs to feed. Once like that validation goes down, they need a new girl to make it go back up. You know what I mean? That hunger builds
And
back up.
eventually it stops working and they have a
Yes.
routine.
Yeah, or Roosh V or Tom Torero or a
Mm.
fucking mystery or whatever the case may be. So it's really, really important that guys understand what's going on inside of them, because even the guys who are not lucky enough and not skilled enough to use women as like their validation point, what do? They regress into porn, they
Yeah.
regress into prostitution, drug usage, right? MGTOW, black pill, toxic content. Some of these guys evolve into like these toxic content creators, and then they create this echo chamber of toxicity. And it just like it's funny whenever I see like the black pill guys, like oh, we got a new black pill hero. I'm like, it's only a matter of time before that fucking group cannibalizes, because they're all toxic, fucked up people, and
Well,
they can never get their shit together.
and see, there's resentment, anger, and outrage. The red pill rage is in that whole MGTOW black pill movement. And see, here's the thing. Remember, our brain motivates us towards pleasure. Our brain motivates us above all to avoid pain. And toxic shame is the most painful emotion we have.
Mm-hmm.
Anger is much less painful than toxic shame.
Mm.
So let's cover this shame. I feel like I'm no good. I can't get hot girls. And let's just get angry at them. It's so unfair, and let's stew in that because that feels better than feeling like a piece of crap who's no good.
Mm-hmm.
Or, hey, I know I'll become an alcoholic and be drunk all the time so I can't feel it.
Oh, that's
Or I'll
sad
play
too.
video games, or let me go out and just bang lots of girls. Because the thing is, these subconscious traumas, programs like I'm not good enough, that is your baseline. That is how you feel if you have nothing otherwise affecting your mood. You
Right.
go back to that. If you have this messed up stuff in you, That's what you go back to when you just sit in a room and there's nothing to do. You're going to start gravitating back, and that's your baseline. So if that's your baseline and it's terrible and your brain is designed to get you to avoid pain, your brain's going to have you do all this stuff to not feel that. So let's become an alcoholic. Let's view a ton of porn. Let's bang a lot of hot girls. Let's get angry, because hey, anger is better. Anger is empowering.
Mhm.
You know, that's better than that's, you know, it's dirty fuel, but it's way better than feeling I'm not good enough.
Mhm.
You know, and because people are running away from this pain in them, some don't even understand that that's the root of the problems. They're not even connected to it because they're spending all their time disconnecting from it because it hurts.
Yeah.
And so people come to me and they say, oh, you know, I'm terrified of approaching women. Well, why are you terrified? Well, it's always one of two things. I'll ask them these two questions. When's the last time you approached a girl and she said, yeah, she had a boyfriend, or she just gave you the cold shoulder? You could tell she was rejecting you. How did it feel? Oh, and I'll get one of two answers. This is people with approach anxiety I'm talking about. They'll either say, I felt terrible that she rejected me. I felt like a loser. I was embarrassed. I felt like a reject because she rejected me. Or they'll say, you know what? It hurt a little, but I actually felt good because I was brave enough to approach her.
Yeah.
So you may ask yourself, well, where's the pain there? Why does he have approach anxiety? If anxiety is our brain seeing we're in a situation that could lead to pain, and our brain, it's just fight or flight. This is the flight. Fight is anger, punch someone in the face. Flight is anxiety or fear, get the hell out of there.
Yep. Yep.
And
And
so
it's so true.
when your
I've
brain,
I've dated girls that are fight, and I've dated girls that are flight, and both
yeah,
are
there you go.
driven. Both are driven by anxiety. But yeah, you're so true. Like the anxiety is just the anxiety. Anxiety just looks to confirm itself, even though
It's
it's not
avoiding
there.
pain.
Yeah, because they feel like they are traumatized by past situations, and they think like, oh, this situation could potentially lead towards pain. So A, let me get anger, blow the situation up, or
Mhm.
B, let me fucking freak out and run away. But yeah, you're totally spot on,
At
brother.
the heart of it is toxic shame.
Yep. I
So
feel
I
like
told
just
you
feeling not good enough.
I told you there's two things that can cause pain. Number one, the girl rejects you, but some guys, the girl rejects him and he says, you know what? I was brave enough to approach her, so I feel okay.
Yeah.
All right. Why do you have anxiety? Well, these guys, I asked the second question. How do you feel if you see an attractive woman and you tell yourself you should approach her, but then you chicken out and you don't? How do you feel? Those people that feel brave and they don't feel bad getting rejected, they then say, I feel like I'm not enough of a man. I'm a coward. I'm a loser because I wussed out. And the fight or flight is the most ancient primitive part of our brain. The most ancient survival program is fight or flight. This anxiety doesn't even understand that the pain comes from not approaching the girl and then feeling like a coward. It's kind of weird because it's like you get anxiety, which causes you to not approach the girl, which then causes the pain.
Right.
But all the brain sees, I'm in this situation where if it goes wrong, my toxic shame is going to spike to the surface. I'm going to feel like a loser, a failure, whether it's not approaching or approaching, getting rejected. Doesn't matter. Your brain just sees potential for pain, gives you anxiety. And even if that anxiety makes you not approach her and then you feel like crap, you still get the anxiety because of that pain that could get triggered in this situation. Our brain just sees potential for pain, gives you anxiety. That's it. So people come to me. I've had people say 10 out of 10 approach anxiety. I do one session, next day, like, oh my God, I approached this girl. The anxiety was 2 out of 10. What the hell just happened? I've had guys, one guy's like, I've been dry for 5 years. And then a month and a half later, he was in a restaurant and he saw, you heard this interview on one of your webinars. A month and a half later, he was in a restaurant, saw this 22-year-old approached her, got her number, took her to bed.
Yep.
I've had other guys never approach a girl in their life. You know this guy, he was a virgin. One session, I interviewed him 5 months later. This will go on my YouTube eventually, but I think this is on one of your shows. 5 months later, he'd been with 3 different girls, lost his virginity 3 times, was a virgin.
Mm-hmm.
So scared he couldn't approach a woman.
Mm-hmm.
5 months later, had 3 girls. And remember, he was on a sales team of 200. He was second from the bottom. 5 months later, number 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this core feminine, the 5 traumas we're talking about, the first one, they screw so much stuff up. And people don't even, it's subconscious for a reason. They don't understand what's down there messing them up.
Mm-hmm.
But if they get all their distractions away, if they get rid of the alcohol, they get rid of the TV, workaholism, and they just sit there long enough. And this is what meditation can do. You just kind of see what's there and what percolates to the surface. If you got trauma in you, we're doing all this stuff to avoid feeling it. You just pause, see what comes up, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I feel terrible. And this used to happen to me before I cleared my trauma, is I used to whack off a lot. But what I would do is I'd stop for like a week or whatever, or 2 weeks or whatever. And after about 3 days, I just started feeling awful. Just started feeling absolutely terrible because I didn't have the thing I was using to medicate.
Yeah. And what's crazy is, and this is, I think you're the one that really taught me about this, but you tell me. But I believe deep down inside that we are all meant to be happy and successful, and we just typically need the tools to understand the methodology of success to really elevate ourselves. But when you have this toxic shame, you have this trauma inside you from your childhood, this acts like a bondage, like a toxic.
It's a computer virus.
And it just stops you from really elevating and leveling up. And it's funny, once you take this bondage off of these people, they naturally start to succeed. Like you said, multiple clients of yourself, including myself, right? As soon as you do the session, as soon as you do the session, incomes are doubling. And I had a large income.
Mine quadrupled over the last 9 years. Yours went up 10x.
Maybe.
Or more. I don't know.
If the IRS is watching, no.
oh yeah, it just doubled for you. That's all.
No, I pay my fucking taxes every year. I have nothing to hide from the fucking IRS. Believe me, you cocksuckers. I pay my fucking taxes over here in Japan. IRS. Criminals. Anyways, sorry, my hate for the IRS came out. But
yeah, that's healthy anger.
But
hey, not all anger is bad. It's just the anger that messes us up. You know,
right.
Not all anxiety is bad. If you're on a mountain path 2 feet wide and on your right it's 1,000-foot drop, you should be anxious.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? These are tools our brain uses. It's just when these tools are malfunctioning in a way that's messing us up, that's where there's a problem. And that's what this toxic shame does. I said earlier, this is like a virus. What I meant is all of us have a supercomputer. This is neuroscience. This is facts. This has been measured. Our subconscious mind processes 1,000 times more bits of info per second than our conscious mind. We all have this supercomputer, but when we're children, that's when the subconscious programs are forming. And when we have these imperfect childhood, some have mostly healthy childhood, but a little messed up stuff. And then some, it's just massive trauma like you and me.
Yeah.
And what happens is that is when this supercomputer is filled with viruses, these bad traumas, bad subconscious programs. And once we hit, as we grow older, these our subconscious mind, which is like soft moldable clay when we're children, it becomes hardened like a hard pot. And now our subconscious is just a static program playing the same programs in our life over and over and over and over until the day we die, unless you know how to reshape it. And that is the core of what I do.
Yes.
And what happens is it's like you're in the ocean and there's all these islands around you. There's this island of success. There's this island of hot women. I'm still not against just getting hot women. It's freaking great, but it needs to be in it needs to be in the proper context, right? Don't get women to validate you. Get women because we're men and we're horny, but not just, we like relationships. We like bonding. People are meant to bond. That's part of being a human too.
Mhm.
So we're in this ocean. There's islands all around us, all this cool stuff we can go towards. If your subconscious is bad, you're in the ocean with cement shoes around your feet.
Yeah.
We break those off. You put in good subconscious programs. Now you're in a speedboat because you got this supercomputer, your subconscious. It runs whatever programs are in there. Get those viruses out and get the good programs in. And now you got the supercomputer working for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we just see time and time again. Now, I'm not saying, higher income is just one measure. And this manifests in different ways for different people. Some people switch their career and now they're in a career they want.
Yeah.
Some people are getting, more girls. Some lose weight. It's really about people getting what they want. It's just kind of surprising all the different things that start happening, and it's like, wow, but that's what happens when you resolve this core trauma. Is now your subconscious mind is a speedboat, not cement shoes, dragging you into the ocean.
Yep. So, quick review there. First type of subconscious trauma is the most powerful one, the most evil one, the one that
Toxic
fucks people up
shame.
the most. That is toxic shame. So if you're at home taking notes, write that down. Toxic
I am not
shame.
good enough in
And
some
the root
form.
is I am not good enough. And it's crazy because once I became aware of this, I had noticed that this is not just a Western only phenomenon, an American only. This is a global thing.
Yeah.
I have seen, after you revealed this to me, I have noticed that this pattern, I'd seen it in a few different girls that I date,
Mm-hmm.
and just like not feeling good enough. And it's really fucking sad because I don't date, ugly girls or anything like that, but I've noticed like a pattern in multiple women that I've dated. They were like, I just don't feel like I'm good enough for you, and I don't feel like this is enough. And I've noticed this over the course of
Mm-hmm.
years, and internationally, American girls, Japanese girls, Chinese girls,
Beautiful. Marilyn
like,
Monroe killed herself. Toxic shame.
yeah,
She was abandoned by her parents, raised in an orphanage. Most beautiful woman in the world, considered at that point. Doesn't matter. You got this stuff in you. The outward stuff doesn't affect the subconscious programs.
yeah,
So that's why Kurt Cobain can become the voice of a generation, start the grunge movement, have Courtney Love totally, completely dedicated to him, this woman, and then have all the side chicks he wants and go out on concert every night, thousands of screaming fans with Nirvana. And then he writes a song, I Hate Myself, I Want to Die, and then blows his head off.
yeah,
All that outward success doesn't affect that program.
yep. And I talk about
It can temporarily distract you from it, but that baseline in you stays the same.
and in the inner game healing course that I filmed today, I talk about how ways you need to protect yourself from toxic media, music being one of them, because people don't always realize you're always brainwashing yourself, whether you believe it or not. And these conscious things that you do can affect you in a subconscious way. And then that right there, you listening to a song, you right, I mean, poor guy, that song came from a place of pain and
Yeah,
suffering,
tremendous pain.
and then he unknowingly spread that pain to, I'm sure, a lot of his fans killed themselves too when that
Shit,
happened.
that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but that's why we're here, to try to do as much good as we can do before we all just fade away into nothingness. But I think that's just the most noble thing to do as a human, is dedicate your life towards helping other humans. And
And
that's what we're
we're
doing.
making massive progress, dude. So many guys' lives are just like, oh my God, I'm so different now.
Dude, we are taking guys that are fucking losers and they're becoming millionaires in 2 years' time.
I know. It's
That's
crazy.
and I know, and we like, you know, you guys will see. You guys will see. Let's go into number 2. What is the second type of subconscious trauma out of the 5?
Okay, so there's 3 types of toxic shame. The first one, and they're interrelated. First one, I'm not good enough in some form. Second one is I don't belong. I don't fit in with others. I can't connect with others. I'm a misfit. It could be I'm not as good as others. It could be I'm just different. I can't connect. I don't belong.
Yep. And that was also something I dealt with, courtesy of Aunt Millie.
When Ryan Christensen was on your show, that was
Mhm.
his big thing, remember?
I don't
He
belong,
came to
right?
me and I got a big chunk of that out.
Mhm.
But and
just
then he
just
and then he healed himself further. He became a hypnotherapist because what we do is so freaking powerful. I did one session. He's like, I got to do this. I got to do this for a living. That's
Mhm.
what he did. And power to him. That's awesome that he became a hypnotherapist and he's good.
See, Lean Latino says, great fucking show, MLD. Look, I know that everybody wants to sit around and call women sluts and be like red pill rage and have fights in the studio. Shout out to
I'd
Fresh
rather
and Fit.
I'd rather heal myself, kick ass.
Yeah, exactly. I
It's
mean,
more
and
fun.
that's the
Trust.
thing.
It's harder, but it's more fun.
It's harder, but
Way more fun. Way better.
being rich and happy is pretty fucking awesome. And
Yeah.
we're speaking from experience. So what we're talking about here on this channel is really, look, I said this on Rule Zero, right? I'm the guy on Rule Zero that you come to if you actually want to get in the workshop and be the man. If you want to become the fucking dude that lives that awesome life, because you see it. I mean, by me hanging time with you, just spending time with you digitally, my life gets better and your life gets better. Since you talk to me
Yeah,
all the
man.
time, your sex life is the best ever since you started hanging out with me.
I'm 48 in like 4 days. And I routinely, yeah, I mean, I date women much younger than me, and they're attractive, and yeah, I wouldn't have believed it. I would have thought, okay, maybe in my 30s I could date women like this, but here I am 40, almost 48, dating women like this. It's crazy.
Look at this. This is in the chat. Okay. And this is kind of crazy. Talking about the number 2, the subconscious trauma of toxic shame. I don't belong. Check it out. Pulse Chain Poppy says, that's me. I'm always the black sheep. And in addition
Mhm.
to that, Young Trey says, I don't belong. Jesus Christ. I felt that way since I was 5. Pro
That's
Special
when it
says,
formed in your subconscious as a child.
and then they say, I don't fit in anywhere. That's 100% me. So I always felt like that because as a child, I was always getting, I was always getting teamed up by my aunt, my brother and sister, and my cousins. They all had like this little coalition against me. And then I would like run to my mom and stuff. And then she would be like, well, why the fuck are you making trouble? She kind of stuck up for me. But it was like, since I was like literally, when did they came? They came into my life when I was like 8 years old. And like from 8 to like 12, 11, I had to like constantly always be on guard and like not trust anybody. And it made me quite fucking badass. I take pride in being very hard to kill.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Very hard to kill.
Man, you've been ran over 10 or 12 times and you're still, you rose like a phoenix. So, man, you're not just limping along. You learn to conquer and thrive, man.
Yeah.
Good for
And,
you.
and the thing is like, and it's funny, like, Cappy says that like I'm like the happiest member of Rule Zero, and it's true. Like in my day-to-day life, I am pretty fucking happy. Like
Wow,
I am.
Cappy told you that?
Yeah.
Dude, that's so awesome, man.
I know.
Hey, Cappy, I'll give you a session half off, Cappy. You just let me know, brother.
Cappy has tons of trauma.
Hey, everyone has some, no one is in this world with a perfect psyche.
Mm-mm.
No. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Like I said, I had this guy, I don't know, probably 9 figures. Now, I don't know. I just know, at least 8, bare minimum, in the 8-figure net worth. He had the best overall mind I've seen, but he still had significant stuff. And we cleared it. And he's like, "Oh my God, I'm kicking even more ass now." So it's not just about, oh, you're messed up, you don't feel good, let's take you to normal.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're messed up. Hey, if we can reprogram your subconscious, let's just put the most kick-ass stuff in there so you take off like a fucking rocket. Let's fucking do that.
Yep. And it's crazy because I'm seeing like as we continue to go on, I'm watching the viewership just climb and climb and climb. So people are popping in and staying and watching because they like what we're saying makes sense. And that's the thing. I think that's the backbone of the success we have here on the channels, because I really can understand what the guys are going through. And there was times where people like, close friends of mine, fellow content creators, like, hey, like you probably shouldn't tell people like what's going on with you mentally and what struggles you're going through.
Yeah, don't be
But
authentic.
well, they came it came from a position of they meant well, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I know.
But I just think that this is the most effective way to talk about what we're going through, because a lot of people, like, I'm not even prompting people like, hey, do you agree with me, press a one in the chat or whatever, like they're volunteering themselves and the information here. These are real people.
Isn't
And
it funny how every time we do a show, there's some people that you've helped or I've helped that chime in and say, "Oh yeah, I'm way better now."
Mhm. Yeah. So this number two is just I don't belong. And you know what I noticed this
Yeah.
too? This is sensitive. This is a sensitive subject here. So
Okay.
everybody put on your big boy pants. But I see a lot of people who have this type of subconscious trauma, the
I
toxic
have it.
shame of I don't belong.
Yeah, I had it.
And they there's a certain type of people that make this racial,
Yeah.
and they think like, oh, people hate me because I'm black. People hate me because I'm Asian. People hate me because I'm Latino, Indian, white, whatever the case may be. Because it's over here too, man. Like dude, being a foreigner in Japan, dude, it has a whole set of problems. People just think you get off the plane here in Japan, there's like a brothel of whores all ready to suck you off and be your slave no matter what you look like, and then there's nothing but positive and easy life over here. I think the funniest thing people tell me is like, oh, MLD moved to Japan because you couldn't make it in America. I'm like, yeah, I moved to a place where I can't speak the language, the locals fucking don't accept me and never will accept me, quite frankly, and I have no family, no friend, no support. Yeah, I moved over here because it's easier. But it's hilarious
Yeah,
because
try picking up a woman in a language you don't speak, right?
you know the
Oh, you're
I
on easy mode. Yeah,
the I don't belong thing, a lot of people racialize this and they think like, people, that guy doesn't like me because I'm black. That guy doesn't like me because I'm Asian. That guy doesn't like me because I'm Spanish. That guy don't like me for XYZ. And this kind of forms a little bit of the victim narration
Yeah, it is
oh,
because the big lie is because they're holding me down, I'm powerless. I can't succeed because of racism, I can't succeed.
mhm,
And it's like that's bullshit. You can succeed despite your racism. We had a
yeah,
black president, okay?
yeah. I mean, it's retarded. Literally, like, I
Everyone
mean,
has obstacles and challenges.
it's
Hey,
retarded.
racism's real.
It
Maybe it's
is.
exaggerated, maybe not. It happens,
Mhm,
but you can overcome
mhm.
that challenge.
It is. I mean, look, there literally you can't just you I mean, when you blame in America of all places, America is literally the least racist place on the planet. These people that blame the racism shit, they have not been to fucking Africa. They have not been to Asia. They have not been to China. They have not been to Korea.
Yeah,
Okay. Koreans hate foreigners. Okay.
yeah.
Like, if you they don't understand. Like in Thailand, you can never buy property if you're not Thai. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Can you imagine that in America? Like, oh, sorry, Mister Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Sorry, you're
You're the
black.
wrong
So
ethnicity.
you're
So,
black, so you can't buy property. Like, can you imagine that?
yeah,
In
man.
Japan, I can't rent certain places because I'm not Japanese. Like, oh, sorry, why did you deny my application? Because you're not Japanese.
Mm.
All right, thanks so much. See you next time. And you just got to take it on the chin.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of the trauma, and people just they feel something and they want to gravitate towards you know at a diagnosis to justify why they feel bad. So this is a big part of it as well.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, these people have trauma in them and they have no idea how to clear it. And that's why they stay traumatized. So I don't even necessarily, I mean, it's not good what they're doing. I can see why they do it because they don't know how to heal themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I've made this my life's mission. I'm quitting my, 200 grand a year job,
Mm-hmm.
195, whatever it averages out to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quitting it. So where I get to work from my home, I have no boss, live anywhere in the world,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm quitting that to do this full time
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah.
because I got to help people, man. This is the real
Mhm.
deal.
It is. Let's go to number 3, the third type of toxic shame that
Number 3,
number 3, lay
I
it on us.
cannot get what I want.
Ooh. I cannot get what I want. Can you explain that one a little bit on deeper level?
I cannot get what I want because the feeling is I can't get it because I'm not capable. I'm not allowed. I'm not worthy. I don't deserve it. It's just not for me. It could be any of that. So these these subconscious traumas apply in different ways to different people. Toxic shame number 1, it could be I'm just falling short. I'm supposed to be up here. Everything has to be perfect, and I just never quite make it, or I only make it with great effort. But for someone else, it could be I'm intrinsically not who I'm supposed to be. It manifests differently. And what we do, I talk with clients for 2 hours before doing a session to really find out how these traumas manifest, or how these traumas are in, at their core, specifically all the nuance. Like, I get so connected to the entire program, I get them figuring out exactly what's going on, and that's why I clear out so much. So I can't get what I want. They all manifest different ways. Um, you know, um, a lot of people are like, well, I'm forbidden. I'm not allowed to, have success with multiple women. It has
Get
to
the
be
girl
one.
that I want. Get the
And
relationship
only in
that I
these
want.
very narrow circumstances, can I get that? Um, or I just don't believe I can do it. I'm not capable. What's that?
I'm laugh. I shouldn't laugh, but young Trey says, "Damn, I feel like my whole life is being spoken about." I shouldn't be laughing. I'm sorry, but
This
it's
this
it's it's
happens with so many people, man. This is massive. There's so many people struggle with this.
it's like,
Billions.
and part of me laughing is because like I'm I'm happy that we're right. Like, because by
We are
putting
right.
out this message, we can help people. And like that's really the thing. Cause like I said, I noticed it when we doing, I was organizing my computer today, right? Because I have this external hard drive. I got like this massive 18 terabyte hard drive, and I'm taking files off of my
Yeah, that's
computer
big.
and I'm putting it onto the hard drive. And a lot of the stuff I was taking off were files from the Masculine Empowerment Network of
Mm-hmm.
2019, 2020. And I see all these guys and I'm reviewing some of the files, reviewing some of the video files. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of work I had to do today. And what's crazy is that, you know, witnessing these guys, witnessing us concretely giving them verified strategies for success, but them not being able to get what they want.
Because they don't believe they can get it.
And I used to think, I used to be like Myron, Myron, but stop being a fucking pussy. You fucking pussy. You are being a bitch. You know what
Yeah,
I
what's
mean?
that to your toxic shame?
Oh, it just flares up like fucking herpes in the
It flares it
summertime.
up, and we're designed to pursue pleasure, avoid pain.
Yeah.
So this is why I tell people, don't criticize yourself, forgive yourself. Say, okay, I just caught myself beating myself up. You know what? I'm human. To err is
Mhm.
human, to forgive is divine. I'm going to let this go. I'm just practicing right now, and I'm going to
Yeah.
keep practicing until I get this. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I tell
Absolutely.
people to constantly look at the good little things they do and point it out and say, this is evidence that I'm on the path of greatness, that I'm making progress, that I'm awesome, that I have seeds of greatness in me, that I'm a good guy, I'm a high value man. Look, I
Mhm.
did this, I did this, I did this. Say it out loud. If you say it out loud, your subconscious hears it.
Yeah.
Your subconscious is designed to observe the world. So say it and get it out into the world. And it
Yeah.
freaking helps.
Yeah. And it's so important that guys really don't panic, don't freak out. Like,
It is a process.
it is a process. And honestly, like,
I've
you
been
know,
working on this 9 years.
I'm a fucking perfectionist. I'm still
Yeah.
trying to like literally create the perfect psyche, which I know I'm never going to do, but I'm working on it and I'm getting there. And the thing is, what's really wild is like the more I chip away at the toxic shame, healing the abuse from my childhood, healing all the evil like demonic voices that are like,
Mm-hmm.
the echoes of Aunt Millie and bad people
Yep.
in my childhood out of my head, the more naturally I gravitate towards success. Like, I'm not trying to show off. I'm not trying to act like I'm super cool guy,
It's
whatever.
true though.
But when I'm at the point now that I only count something as being a financial win if it's a 6-figure net profit sum. Anything else, I'm like, eh. I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, you as men, we grow, we evolve. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
that's just the natural state of things. But from where I came from, literally abject poverty, living out of a fucking car, bouncing from house to house because my mom just couldn't pay the bills. She was doing her best. God bless her. Love mom. And, she was doing her best, but like literally going from like poverty, abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, everything to becoming a self-made multi-million
That's your
dollar
path of
earner.
greatness.
you
Helping
know
dudes while
think
you
of
run
that.
it.
Think about it. Like what we're talking about here is so important and so real, and we're trying to tell you guys that like there is hope. We're not guaranteeing you success because we can't literally do that.
Well, and they have to do the work.
Yeah. you know
But the results usually start coming pretty quickly.
mm-hmm.
It's not a year of therapy. It's not 6 months. It's usually 90% of the time, one session.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I started out with only self hypnosis. I started out only listening to an audio of a lady speaking, Melanie Tonya Evans,
Mm-hmm.
her program, which is for people who had narcissistic abuse, which I had.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to an audio within 2 months, my manic depression was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked on other stuff. Then I had anxiety. I had to figure that out and clear that. And I had this accusing voice in my head, always accuse me of doing stuff. I cleared that out. And then, I was like MGTOW or mostly MGTOW for like 2 or 3 years. Cause it's like before I needed women for validation. It's like, oh my goodness, I don't need women for validation. I'm just awesome for who I am. But then I started dating because man, come on, man. I'm a man. I want women.
Yeah.
And then another host of problems came up. Oh my God, I think women are dangerous. I can't trust them because of my bad upbringing. We clear
Mm-hmm.
that. And then it's like, holy crap, I'm 45. This was 3 years ago, 45. And now I'm with an 18-year-old. What the hell is going on?
Yep.
But I had like 35 bad dates before that, where I
Yep.
was learning and, it's all a process. But
Yeah.
life keeps getting better and better. I mean, how much better was my life when I cured my manic depression? Massively better. I have other stuff to work on. How much better was my life when I got rid of like just general anxiety all the time? Now that's gone. How much better is my life for you?
Yeah.
We started with your poverty mindset. You
Yeah.
felt like everything is going to fall apart. We cleared that. And then you start making tons of money.
Yep.
Hey, Kyle, how's it going? So, Kyle's a good dude. I'm talking to him later tonight, but, just talking, but,
I just love how you stop and read it. You're like, hey, what's up, man?
yeah.
So real.
So we started on your poverty mindset. How much better was your life just clearing that one thing out?
Like I said to the audience watching, right? When we were little, I just constantly heard my mom always saying, "There's no money. We don't have enough money. I don't have money. Money's
Mm-hmm.
hard to get. We have no money." It was just like over and over and over and over again. And at that point in my life, I was 33. I turned
Mm-hmm.
34, and I had done a well over $100,000. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I still felt like this impending doom. Like no matter what, there was like this cloud of doom over me. Like you are going to be poor again. Your
Mm-hmm.
money is going to run out. This is just a temporary victory. You're not worthy of this. Your fucking poverty's coming back. And you're gonna go back to being worried. I used to feel happy when I had an American bank account over here that I was remotely tapping into. I was like, okay, cool. As long as I can keep the balance over $100, like my gym membership and like my
Yeah.
occasional spending could come out of there and I'll be okay. And that was like, constantly living in this fear and this attachment of money is hard to get, believing that. And after we did the session, I didn't even know I had a poverty mindset, but you mentioned you have a poverty mindset and you have this poverty mindset cursing you, and we got rid of that shit. It was like taking the fucking shackles off of a dragon. And, it was just like I was roaring after
You
that.
did, Roy, man.
My income
Good job.
tripled the next year. And then after that, After the triple the next year, from the triple doubled. And
Insane.
it just
Yeah.
keeps going and going and going. And I honestly, like,
You still had other stuff to work on.
whew,
How awesome was that? But then we got rid of your anger, and then everyone's like, "Where'd Angry Jonathan go? Bring back Angry Jonathan."
yes, and
And then we
so
start working on toxic shame, and then how much better are you now? So it's a process, but man, when you get these shifts, they can come quickly, and then your life's so much better. And now you're on to the next thing to clear, and you're kicking even more ass. You just keep
so
kicking more ass. It gets better and better, man.
And so, real quick, right? So, if what we're saying is making sense, go right now, go to innergamehealing.com and get on the waiting list, because what we're doing, this conversation we're having, we can have it with you on February 24th. Enrollment opens. We're bringing in the troops and we're starting off the year correctly. We want to get all the inner demons sorted out. Then I'm going to teach you how to get the girls, online dating, all the courses for all the things that you want. But I believe this is the most ethical thing to do, to make sure that your mind is actually prepared for success in 2022. And then from you having a prepared mind, we are going to jettison you into space to the moon, baby. We're going to have you set up with crypto. We're going to have you set up with the dating success. All of these things are all coming together. But first, you got to get your mind right. One more time for you guys that may have showed up a little later. You get the full course. In addition to that, you get to attend these live training webinars here. Me and Ryan on March 1st. All of these start at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They will be recorded, and these will be live interactive chat with Zoom, the whole 9 yards. You'll be able to get involved.
And you get one of my self-hypnosis audios. I'm going to train you how to use it. I can't guarantee every guy is going to be able to use it, because some guys, really need professional help. But a lot of guys are going to be able to use the self-hypnosis audio and clear out trauma all on their own after they get the training. And I have, like Ryan Apollo, he cleared out his approach anxiety. And then Dan, Dan, he's cleared like 15, 20 traumas. I have their permission to share. I have 25 recorded interviews of guys whose lives are massively different. I haven't put them on my YouTube channel because it's like I'm not done with my day job, and I already booked out 3, 4, sometimes 5 months. So I've been holding back on that till I could go full time, but I am going to start putting these interviews out. And guys are using self-hypnosis and clearing trauma just with that. So, we're going to do everything we can short of actual one-on-one session, to help you guys. But I do have to put that disclaimer there, because everyone's in a different place, and some dudes do need a live session. So
right. And then
many
Philip
don't. Many can do the self-hypnosis, get better, at least to a point.
And Philip here is saying, damn, this is a good lineup, because it really is. All of these things, the best thing about this, right, is we're going to handle this the first week of March. And then you're going to have recordings, you're going to have the chat group, plus you're going to have the 1 hour long video course that's going to be available to you, so that you can absolutely solidify a set of data for you to go back to and rewatch and study and know, like, okay, I want to be successful, so let me study this mindset stuff. And then once you have the mindset stuff sorted out, okay, now my mind is geared for success. Let me learn crypto. Let me learn how to get girls. Let me learn how to last longer in bed. Let me learn how to, understand deep psychology of women. Whatever the case may be, that's what we have moving forward for you in this year. So in order to get all that, you have to go to website right here, innergamehealing.com. Get on the waiting list, because Thursday we're going live. So we got the 3 forms of toxic shame. 1, I'm not enough. 2, I don't belong. 3, I can't get what I want. And so we're moving on to the number 4. And what is that one?
Number 4 is anger, resentment over injustice, betrayal, abuse, or abuse. And that is, as a child or as an adult, you don't have a fair shake. Life is unfair. You've been abused. You haven't been supported. Your parents weren't there for you, or you were bullied, or whatever. I have people who have, 20 years ago, someone bullied them repeatedly and they still have anger towards that person.
Mm-hmm.
And that burns up energy you could use being productive
Mm-hmm.
over something that happened 20, 30 years ago.
I know a girl that I dated that had a lot of anger and injustice she felt about
Mhm.
herself and about the world, and she was heavily involved in a lot of feminist shit. Would you
Yeah.
would you notice would you
Well,
notice
that's
a
the victim
correlation?
mindset. A lot of that woke stuff, feminism, has anger at the core, resentment at the core.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
yeah, victim mindset, all of that. And the thing about anger is it's an act of holding on. I'm holding on to this anger until I get justice, until that person's punished. The problem is having that anger. It's not in the other person isn't feeling it. You're feeling it, and most people after a while understand it's kind of a poison.
yeah.
And here's one thing that I've noticed with my clients is if you're able to forgive and let this go, you're not forgiving it for the other person. You're just getting this poison out of you.
Yeah.
Now, and that actually gets people unstuck. Not only do they become kinder to others when they let go of this anger, but they become kinder and forgiving to themselves.
Yeah.
Letting go of this helps you let go of other stuff such as toxic shame.
Yeah.
I have had people, when someone has anger, resentment, I always clear that before getting to the toxic shame, because I have had people who had anger and resentment, and I try and clear the toxic shame. I cannot clear it because they're holding on to the anger and it's connected to the shame. So they're holding on to both, even though they want to let go of the shame. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes you can't even get rid of your shame and other bad subconscious programs until you let go of this anger. Just the act of
Yeah.
letting go in general, it helps you move forward. If someone abused you and you have resentment in you, that is evidence that they still have power over you.
Yeah.
Because why is that anger, resentment there? It's there because they abused you. And as long as you hold on to that, you're holding on to the effects of that abuse to some degree.
Yeah.
The ultimate victory is to let it go and say, I have become a happy, healthy, empowered person despite what you did. I'm happy, I'm kicking ass, and I let all that go and I'm moving forward. That's your victory over abuse. As opposed to holding on to this and being angry and you're stuck because of that. Makes sense?
It's ancient wisdom too, because there's a quote by Buddha, and when he says holding on to anger is like grasping on to a hot coal with the intent of throwing it someone else. You are the one that gets burned because you're holding on to that, and it kind of ties into what you said. When you have anger and you hold on to it, it's like you drinking the poison and hoping the other person dies.
Yep.
You have to let go, and you have to like the justice of it all is like life does not reward shitty people. Life, the person that did you wrong,
They're
believe
they're
me,
already paying the price because their life fucking sucks. That's
and
why
it
they hurt you.
yes,
Hurt people.
and
Traumatize people, traumatize others.
and karma's real. You can't just go through life endlessly hurting people, endlessly just thinking about yourself, preserving your own emotions, not worrying about other people involved, scamming people, you know, living in a filthy favela and making hit videos about people. Like
Sooner or later, their toxic shame comes to the surface and then they're screwed. And then
yep,
they have no one at their side because they've abused everyone and they're alone.
yep, yep. They isolate themselves over and over with their toxic behavior. They think people are usable objects that they can just use and use and use the next one and use the next one and use the next one. But
Mm-hmm.
all that does is eat away at their soul and eat away at their humanity. And they have to constantly like live in this just shitty existence.
Yeah.
So, for you guys, because like Raymond says here, he says, does it count as toxic anger if you're passively looking forward to someone's inevitable demise, asking for a friend? No, not at all. I look forward to watching my enemies die. And I do with a smile on my
But you're not
face.
like seething and like, I
No.
need, you don't have I need them to suffer,
Hmm.
you know.
No, certainly not. Because it's so beneath me. But I mean, if I watch my enemy get hit by a bus or liquefied by a train, I'd be like, well, hey, that's pretty fun, But I don't sit around and plot it out. But I mean, all I know at the end of the
You don't
day,
lose any sleep over it,
mm,
right?
at the end of the day, I know that I'm a good person. I know that I'm a good man, and I never do anything like with the intent of hurting people. I'm like really good in my relationships. I'm very fair. I'm very honest in business. I don't fuck anybody over. And I know just by me being a good person, good things will come to me. And I know people doing shitty things, leading a shitty life. Shitty people have, like, if you have a shitty life, you're probably a shitty person. If you have shitty relationships, you're probably a shitty relationship
Well,
partner.
or you're just really traumatized and need to clear that. But
Or you're right. And but even the trauma itself, when you have all this trauma, it leads you to
trauma leads you to hurt others. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
leads you to hurt other people. Trauma leads you to fucking make bad decisions. I mean, this is the core of it all. So for you guys that are out there thinking like, oh yeah, I kind of feel like shit, but I don't really want to do about it, you're a ticking time bomb.
Yeah. I'll say this. There are people who are traumatized that don't hurt others, but if they don't hurt others, they are hurting themselves. Or you're hurting someone with your trauma.
Yep. Competent Men, $10 super chat says, why do you think guys have more? Why do you think guys having more problems? Seems a lot more than the 80s, 90s, pre-internet. Though with the internet, number of guys would be going down since all kinds of research available, but instead more. So I'll say this: I think it's due to the family unit. The family unit
Disintegrating.
is being destroyed. Okay, there's a study that says if you have dinner, I don't know the exact study, but if you sit down and have dinner with your parents and your family weekly, you are less likely to be depressed. You're less likely to go to jail. You're less likely to be a piece of shit. Just sitting down with your family and having a healthy dinner. It was so weird for me because we almost never did that when I was a kid. I would go to my white friend's house. His name was Jordan, and his family were functional, more functional than our family at the time. And sitting down and having dinner with them, I was like, wow, this is like so weird, but it's like nice. And they're like, Jonathan, how's your day? I'm like, wow, this like white people are so fucking nice to me. Like, like I don't have to worry about food. There's no fighting. Like everybody's happy. Like we're communicating normally. And don't get me wrong, that
And
family
you
had
were
their
raised in
problems.
this broken home, single mom.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and that family had their problems too. Nobody's perfect, but just having that sense of normalcy with them was a little like there was more calm in that household than there was mine. And so just having that sense of normalcy really was like refreshing, and it was like a peace and allowed my mind just to relax, right? And going there, like, there's fridge full of food and stuff, just like little things like that. But I think this is all tied to A, the no fault divorce thing happening in America.
Mhm.
B, the feminist movement telling women, oh, divorce these men. You don't need these men. And these women being financially incentivized because the state will take men's money, take their fucking freedom if they don't pay that child support and shit, literally put these men in jail. So you have these women that are giving a financial benefit to destroy the family, because the one that suffers the least when they divorce is the woman. The husband suffers, the children suffers, but the woman suffers the least out of the whole thing. And then you have these women getting married, some of these women maliciously getting married, like sinisterly planning
Yeah.
a fucking to get a guy, marry him, get kids, and then divorce him and have a financial plan set in place to destroy this guy and go out there and have a broken family led by her.
Feminism needs to put men in against women and vice versa. Needs the women to be victims and yet somehow are empowered, and
Mhm.
then the men need to be oppressors.
Look at the statistics. Single mother households literally produce sluts and criminals.
Yeah.
Like, just it's like literally that's what they produce. And
less
if you look
less educated, less income, higher chance of crime, higher chance, like noticeably, substantially higher chance of
at
crime, mental illness,
suicide, yep.
suicide.
I
All
mean,
all the good is down statistically, all the bad's up. Now in America, back in the 1950s, I think by age 25, like 95% of people were married. Now in America, less than half of all adults are married.
mhm, yep.
And I don't, is it what? I don't know. It's like 30, 40% of homes are now single parent homes. I don't know the
Mhm.
exact number, but it used to
Yeah.
not. And not only that, but people used to live in more closely knit communities. It used to
Yep.
be like in the 50s, 40s,
Yep.
everyone knew each other in the neighborhood.
Yep.
And now we have social media and all this stuff just disconnecting people or putting up fake versions. Here's the highlights of my life, and I'm presenting it like I have it all the time.
Yep.
You
It's
know,
retarded. Only fucking morons believe that shit. Like, oh, like, people just think like, oh, this person, like, let me just check their Instagram. Like, wow, they're always so happy. This couple looks happy and they have a kid and they're happy. And look at this guy. He has a sports car and he probably feels amazing every single day. And he like always fucking has sex with girls every day. And he always like fucks them and he always gives them orgasm and he never premature ejaculates. He never can't get a boner. He's just like the perfect male and I'm just a lowly fucking loser. And it's like
yeah,
insane. And it happens to men and women, but it's like
yeah,
you got to get a grip. You got to snap out of it and grow up and be like, dude, that's not how world works.
yeah. Our
And
society is much sicker than it was 70 years ago.
dude, social media has really fucked people up because we focus on all the benefits of social media,
And
but
there are some benefits, yeah.
there are some benefits. But if you watch the show, there's a documentary called The Social Dilemma on Netflix, and if you just see how negative the downsides are of social media. Dude, I only have social media for my business. I couldn't, if I was a regular person, I don't give a fuck to show anybody about here's my fucking sandwich I ate today, and here's a picture of me standing at this fucking fountain. And I need all my friends to be like, oh my God, what a lovely fountain. Where are you? Are you in Italy? Are you in
Yeah,
France? Are you in Germany? And it's just like, I don't give a fuck. But like I'm pretty secure in myself in that sense. Like I don't need people to tell me I'm awesome. Like my life is this shit. I'm awesome as it is.
yeah.
Right. But I don't know. That's just, that's just the world we live in. And I think dude, I think a big part of the coronavirus fear was perpetuated by social media. And China, China bought 100,000 plus fake Twitter accounts, and they were tweeting out fucking panic around the
Jeez.
world in multiple languages. And their Twitter's trying to cover this up, but they did that shit, you know?
There's an interesting book written by Michael Crichton called State of Fear, and
Mm,
and it's fiction, but it actually goes over a lot of facts and data as to how governments use different crises. It especially went into climate change and showed
mm,
how the data is cherry picked all the time. But it just went over the need politicians and media and whatnot have to keep people in states of outrage, states of fear, so that they can push their agenda. And
yep.
I think was it Hillary Clinton or one of her aides said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, and it's the powers that be are using that. Corporations love feminism because they love doubling the workforce, which means there's more supply of labor, which means they can pay less wages, and then people wonder why wages are stagnating. Well, that's why.
Mm-hmm. Riduku here says from
One reason.
2017, referring to children raised by single mothers, 70% of runaways, 70% of juvenile delinquents, and 70% of child murderers came from
Hurt people
single.
hurt people. These are hurt kids.
Yeah,
They're
man.
kids with toxic shame.
Yep.
Where's dad? Why doesn't dad love me? Why does mom talk trash about dad? Are all men bad because mom acts like it because she's traumatized because she was hurt
Mm-hmm.
like by a man or whatever, by the man she chose. She
Mm-hmm.
chose in her trauma. She's traumatized, so she chooses a shitty man and then complains that he abused her,
Yep.
you know, and
Yep.
that's just perpetuating.
Mm-hmm.
You heal
Um.
that toxic shame, and now she gets in good relationships because she values herself.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why women
Same thing
like
with
with
guys. Guys do it too.
women, men, they'll get into either shitty relationships or they'll get into a good relationship, but they're so fucked up inside that they will destroy the relationship, right? The guy will go out
Mhm.
and he'll fucking, do shit that the girl doesn't like. The guy will self-sabotage. He'll go out, he'll fucking cheat, he'll get drunk, sometimes he'll beat the girl, right? All going down to like him just feeling like, damn, this is a good situation. and I gotta fuck it up somehow because I'm not worthy of it. I can't have what I want. I'm not good enough.
But
Whatever the case may be.
and
You know
then
what I mean?
we're talking about anger, resentment. That also plays out in relationships. You're angry and pissed off. You think that's not going to spill out onto your significant other?
Oh yeah,
You're pissed off. She does just something, the slightest thing wrong makes a normal human error, and now you're all over her because you're pissed off inside.
yeah, oh yeah.
So yeah, let that anger, get rid of that anger, resentment, because it messes stuff up,
It does. I dated a
messes
girl that
up
was
relationships.
I dated a girl that was super, super, super psychologically healthy, like the most healthiest girl I've ever dated. And I would make, and this is like 2000, I remember it was like 2017, 18. I would like just make problems out of nowhere because I was just so fucked up. And I would, I just would like accuse her of shit she wasn't doing. And I would just be, quite frankly, a piece of shit human being. And poor girl just tolerated it because she was like that good of a person. And I just didn't realize I was so fucked up from my own trauma and stuff, and my own toxic belief systems and everything. I was just so, it's in such turmoil mentally, and hurt people, man. And that was just, looking back on that, I feel awful. I am filled with regret. And it's just, but that's just like the world we live in. What's crazy, the craziest part is like we're still in the point of society where we don't really diagnose people from a curable standpoint. We're just like, oh, he's just a narcissist, he's just a abuser, he's just a psychopath, he's just a sociopath, he's just a crazy guy, right? We don't look deeper and be like, oh wait, why is he doing this? Where is this coming from?
And
And
these core traumas are the why.
mm-hmm. and
It's
that's and
what's
that's
at the very root,
and that's the
formed
thing.
in
We're real,
childhood.
and that's the thing here is because we want to clearly state the stuff and clearly identify it for you guys out there. So if you have this in yourself or you notice it in people around you, that's another thing. Because if you are really trying to get to the next level in life, you cannot really like you Ryan, would you say? I would say you cannot associate with toxic people if you're trying to level up in life. You can't associate with them.
Well, I mean, you can interact with them, but you don't want to get close to them.
That's what I'm saying. Like associate, like go out,
Yeah.
spend time, text them on a regular basis.
Yeah. So the thing is if you have a good subconscious world, that's your baseline. Your baseline is good. Your baseline is healthy. But outside of stuff does influence us temporarily, and toxic people are going to cause issues. And if you're constantly exposed to a toxic person, they're going to be constantly causing you problems.
Mm-hmm.
So when we are emotionally healthy and focused on, man, I feel great. I'm going out and kicking ass because I want to, because it feels good, because I love the benefits of it. Why? And if we feel we deserve to be loved and we deserve to be respected, why would we choose to be around someone who doesn't do that and then just, takes our baseline and lowers it? Makes us waste energy on unnecessary drama. It's like it's not a match for us. A lot of people deal with other toxic people because they got shit inside that makes them a match for that. It becomes familiar and comfortable. So another thing, we pursue pleasure, we avoid pain, but we also go towards that which is familiar, avoid that which is unfamiliar. And you get all this toxicity out of you, and then other people's toxic stuff is not a match for you. It's not familiar anymore. What's familiar is the good stuff in you, and then you gravitate to good people.
Yeah, I mean, there used
You
to
just
be
want to
people.
be around them more.
There used to be friends of mine that I associated with that were pretty toxic, and I just didn't, even in like in minute ways, we just didn't see eye to eye. And like after I was done hanging out with them, I would feel like tired, and I'd be like, God,
Yeah,
this motherfucker exhausts me.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I was dating a girl, super hot, but like just so toxic. Like it's like I have to like reel her in from her all toxicity and like fucking Christ,
yeah.
and good pussy can only keep you around for so long before you're just like, okay, fuck this bitch. Like, I'd rather date a girl that's just normal and not as hot, but at least I don't have to come home and deal with the fucking the chaos that is you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And so,
Someone add to your life, you know, instead of
yeah,
take
yeah,
away
you
from
you
it.
you look, and
And
that's the thing.
we know we can get attractive women who are going to add to our life. So
Yes.
why are we going to deal with this? And honestly, like once you get a girl, like look in the looks department, for me, I'm saying for me, 7 or 8. When she's a 7 or 8, you know, in the looks department, then for me, there's a law kind of diminishing returns, the 9 or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like, man, if she doesn't have the other, I'd rather have a 7 who has all this other good stuff instead of a 9 that's just sucking me dry, you know, with their
You know,
toxicity.
good, and that's the thing. And that's why I teach guys game, right? I teach guys game because it teaches you to take the pussy off the pedestal. And it really, because a lot of guys, they think, because you know what I noticed, usually the hotter the girl, the more fucking trouble she is.
Yeah.
And
Not always, but usually. I've
uh,
had a couple 9s every now and then where it's like she's a decent human being, but it's pretty rare, you know.
yeah. So when you like learn game and you get your inner game sorted out, right? You will start valuing peace and a woman who adds to your life rather than a woman that takes away.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if a girl who just comes into your life and like she just has a baseline of like 0, like she's not even toxic, she's just like neutral and like
Mhm.
cool. You're like, okay, this is like fantastic, right? And then when she learns to like cook for you, clean, and like be more feminine, then that adds to your life in such a way. I mean, talk about clean fuel. That right there is some massive clean fuel. Having a good issue free woman, like, and like who understands, okay, my man is number one and our relationship is number one, and I need to understand that like I am with him on this journey of greatness together, so I must support him. So what can I do to be useful? How can I be helpful to my man? And that's our top priority, right? When you have a
Yeah.
girl like that, it amplifies you so much. But you're not going to be able to get that kind of girl unless you sort yourself out internally.
Yeah, 100%.
Huge
when
thing.
when you sort yourself out, you just have more natural confidence. And I mean, my sexual market value went up just by me becoming naturally confident and believe in myself.
Yeah.
I've had clients I've interviewed. One guy is like, I did a session with you, and all of a sudden, people were treating me better at work. My employees used to ignore me and kind of treat me like I'm a bird. Oh, here's the boss again. This guy's a dick. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, now they're actually like asking me for advice.
Yeah.
And it's like, one of the reasons people start making more money, a lot of people, is and it happens in just all sorts of weird ways, but they don't realize that people like them more now. When you have more confident, happy energy, people
Yeah.
want to be around you.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And that fact alone, that I have this energy of I'm confident, I believe in myself, I'm a good guy, I love life, I'm happy. That right there is going to get you hotter girls. And it's going to get you better financial opportunities, better job opportunities. Everyone's going to treat you better.
Mm-hmm.
In generally speaking, there's still dicks out there who'll be dicks to you, but generally speaking, people in general treat you better. You know.
The more poison you take out of your life that is toxicity, the more you're going to hate poison that you notice in other people,
Yeah.
and the better your life is going to be. Competent Man, $5 super chat says, hot girls see the crazy hot matrix. Note, no matter how hot a girl is, someone somewhere is sick of her bullshit. That's true. No
Yeah.
matter, yeah, no matter how hot the girl is, there's some guy out there that is sick of her and sick of fucking her. So like,
Yeah.
take them off the pedestal. Nobody's that special, especially if your peace of mind is at hand. Um, but again, that's like I said, we're rounding out all this information for you guys, and we're trying to knock it out. We got the fifth one here, the fifth
Number
type of
5.
subconscious trauma. You want to knock it out for us? Where we're at
Yeah.
here?
Number 5 is I'm not safe.
Mm,
And it's related to, now a lot of people have anxiety, not because they're not safe, but because of toxic shame. I'm not safe is I'm afraid of losing my job. because then I can't pay my bills. You know, I'm afraid something bad's going to be happening. I'm going to end up homeless. This is like survival based stuff, safety based stuff. And poverty mindset is tied to that. If you have a feeling like something's going to happen eventually where everything's going to fall apart, this dread and pending doom, that's I'm not safe. Or you could have a lot of anxiety because you grew up in a home that was violent, for example. And as a child, you literally did not feel safe. So I'm not safe is more, tied to literally not feeling safe, literally kind of fearing, or poverty mindset is, where am I going to get my next meal? Am I going to have money for a meal? Am I going to have money to pay rent? And yeah, some people literally are poor and are wondering about that. But as Jonathan noted, you started making six figures and you still had that plaguing you.
Yeah.
So if it's this and so yeah, it's poverty mindset or I'm not safely. For me, I started dating again after I cleared my manic depression, anxiety, and stuff. And then around women, I felt a lot of anxiety because I literally felt women were dangerous. Because my mom was my mom wasn't like she would never stab me with a knife or anything. She never did anything along those lines. But maybe this is a little more toxic shame, but I literally felt women were dangerous because they could betray me. I couldn't trust them. They're going to do something. It's just based on my upbringing. So I'm not safe is a little more tied to, not paying bills, physical danger. But there are people who have that. I would say I see this the least. But there's still a sizable minority of people who feel not safe.
Yeah. Just fear of loss, and feel of instability. And that comes from
instability and unstable homes.
Yeah. Unstable homes. And,
you grow up scared about it. All sorts of stuff could happen. Yeah. Keep going.
I don't ever think I told you or the audience about. Did I ever tell you about the time in my life where I was raised by the 4 Cuban nannies?
No.
Oh man, that's a whole other page of trauma I've got to
You may have
fucking
mentioned
tell
it
you about.
once, but you've never went into it.
Dude, the mom of Mercedes, Jessica, Ingrid, and Lisa, right? Bro, 4 women, and then my mom would drop us off to because my mom worked at a nightclub at the time. So we would stay there, and they were watching these 2 boys that were son. Their name was I think it was like his name was John, and I think the other kid name was Robert. And their mom, Lourdes, was addicted to drugs. And so you had Mercedes and the mother of these single mom of these 3 women watching after us, and also watching after these 2 boys who mom was a drug addict. Dude, like, you want to talk about instability and chaos? Holy fucking shit. I saw like them freaking out about giving the kids up to adoption, and then them dropping them off at the adoption center and coming back into the house, and the girls like ripping all the Christmas lights down, saying, fuck this, we don't need Christmas, we just gave up our family members, and like seeing fights and seeing the girls fist fight each other, and just like my life was like the set of Jerry Springer. And I don't think I've ever talked about this, but like seeing all that shit, like I think that gave me a lot of just instability. Like, female nature is chaotic. Like, these girls,
some women more chaotic than others.
Bro, women need men. Women absolutely need men to be like, yo, bitch, fucking chill, you psychopath. Like, just chill out. Because I mean, you ever see that show? It was like a version of Survivor where they like put all the women on one island and put all the men on the other island, and the men are like are growing food, and like they have a farm, and like they're rationing out rice
and crying,
and the girls are fighting, crying. They don't have fire. They're like don't have food. They eat all the preserved food, and then what happens? The little fucking weak beta males go over there and have to save them. And like the one alpha guy who's like this lawyer is like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, let these bitches suffer. Let them suffer. They're gonna lose. But that's betas for you. They always want to simp and try to fucking save the bitches in order to get some, like, weasel their way and get some pussy. But yeah, man, it's crazy. Like, the instability, that is like tied into female nature. It's just fucking crazy. And like, like, I was raised obviously by my mom, and a lot of her friends are like, single women as well. And like looking at all of them, like all my aunts are like, single, can't get their shit together. I'm seeing older women that are, I know, that are single moms from like friends of friends in the Orlando area, and they just can't get their shit together, and they're like just perpetually fucking things up. They like, women need a man to be like, listen, stop, and listen to what I have to say. Let
Yeah.
me guide you. But you have this narrative of like, God, women are so fucking dumb because they believe this shit. Like,
Well,
oh,
it's they've been sold lies all their lives.
yeah,
It's
they believe this boss
Western
girl
women
narrative.
are, this is, our society now is not normal.
Mm-mm.
And if you're taught this bullshit from a very young age, it's like, I've met women who've been raised in healthy households, and they are really fantastic human beings.
For sure, for sure,
Like,
for sure.
I will tell you, I've gotten to know Thor's wife, Missy. What a great lady.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sweet
she
woman.
even said something that kind of blew my mind when I was talking to her. I don't know how we got on the topic, but she's like, "Oh, I never nag. What's the point? It's useless." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh my goodness, this woman," And I'm just like, "Oh my god, can I find another one of her? Thor? Does she have a younger sister? What the hell? Who's single? But
Yeah.
um, I've heard a good description. Women are the art, men are the frame.
Oh
And
wow.
once you get these, I'm not misogynist at all. I really think the dilemma with men and women now is men have strengths and weaknesses, so do women. But I
Yes.
think our Western culture is sick, and
Yep.
this is a, you go to, okay, there's healthy and sick women everywhere, but I've lived in the Philippines for 2 years. I've been in other countries. I've known women I think were really great. Most of them are in other countries, and it's because there are sick, diseased attitudes in Western culture that is, quite frankly, causing the decline of Western culture. And,
Yeah.
I do think, women, they do shoot for the top guys. And that's why, hey, if you're a woman and you shoot for top guy like Jonathan, or experienced wise guy like me, let us do our thing, because you decided to be with us for a reason. If you want to be an equal, fine, get an average guy who's average like you know
Go get a loser.
and then you can be equal. And but this male female dynamic is, guys are good at setting boundaries, and once women know boundaries, and they know the frame they're in, then they really can be like a work of art, and there's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that at all. Men
No.
we have our strengths, we have all our logic and boundaries and rationality and all of that, and that's an excellent frame. If a woman's willing to fit in that frame, then it just enhances her, and they can be these great works of art. There's nothing wrong with that. That is not denigrating women. It's just showing that men and women in a healthy context are better together than apart. We complement each other, and that's a way that a man can complement a woman, and then she can really become a fantastic, nurturing, caring human being. And
And
I know women like that are fantastic, and I admire those women. I do not look down on them. But
I
you look at Thor.
absolutely
Thor is a
do.
fantastic frame for Missy, who is the art.
Yep.
Thor's gonna speak on the Inner Game Summit. What a
I
badass frame he is.
I definitely know women in my life that are well-adjusted, feminine women, and they all have a good relationship with their dad, a healthy relationship with their dad, and a healthy relationship with their husband, a healthy relationship with their boyfriend. There are women out there that I respect. It's like, literally, it's becoming more and more rare these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that are out there, I like truly will be like, I respect the fuck out of you, and I will do whatever needs to be done to help you out.
Yeah.
And it's so refreshing to encounter these kind of women. But
We're
yeah,
unfortunately a small minority because of our sick society.
it's very sick society. America is just so sick with all these chicks that are just like so fucked up. And you know Like right here, Raymond says it perfectly. Equal means identical. No two people can be truly equal, much less two people of the opposite gender. That's I was trying to explain to somebody today who was like, "Well, why is it a double standard that like men can sleep around and they don't get judged, and women can't have a bunch of partners and they will get judged?" And I'm just like, because you idiot, men and
Apples and
women,
oranges.
yeah, men and women are not the same. And it, this goes into the age old argument. It's just very simple. A master key can open many locks, but if a lock opens with any key, it's a shitty lock. There's no skill associated with a woman getting fucked by a dude. There's no skill at all. For
Yeah.
a guy, he's got to look good. He's got to smell good. He's got to have charisma. He's got to have good social skills. He's got to have a place. He's got to have a car. He's got to have money. He's got to have tolerance to go on a date and put up with some of these nutbags,
Yeah.
right? It takes all these things. A woman just has to show up. And like Patrice O'Neill said, a woman could literally go into a bar, grunt, and point at her vagina, and some guy will fuck her. If a
Yeah.
guy goes into the bar and grunts
He's
and
gonna get
points at
thrown
his fucking
out.
crotch, they're gonna shoot
Call
him.
the cops.
They're gonna fucking shoot his ass, and
Yeah.
then they're gonna start a hashtag movement of like, stop all crotch pointer men, and like
Yeah.
GoFundMe will support it all, and all this bullshit. But we as society, the reason why men and women are more and more fucked up these days is because we're straying away from the way it used to be. Men,
We're straying away from how we biologically developed over hundreds of
yes,
thousands of years.
men are men, women are women, and also the communities, because women need like a village. They need
They
a
do.
community. They
And we've
need it.
lost community. That's one of the reasons people are messed up. We've lost a family, lost a community, losing your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that's just we got to figure out how to way to get that back. But that's that's it. Did we get number 5? We did, right? What was
Yeah,
number
I'm
5?
I'm not safe.
I'm
And
not
what we're
safe.
talking about with men and women is adding to instability of the home.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people grow up in unstable families now, and then they have anxiety in life over feeling not unsafe
Isidore
because of
Calderon,
instability and trauma.
$5 super chat says, "Can believing that success is immoral, i.e., rich people are evil, be an obstacle to overcome?" Yeah, but
100%.
I used to think that, but the only people that say rich people are evil are dumb poor people.
Yeah. And that's going to keep you poor.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can't become successful. I literally had a person who had a trauma. I can't get what I want. I can't get what I want because if I become successful, it means I'm bad. That was that person's core trauma.
Oh my God.
And because of that, he would actually multiple times get into positions of success in his life and he would blow it up every time because now I'm bad. Oh, I'm becoming successful. I'm one of these bad rich people that my poor family told me was bad.
Yep.
His mom was like this communist, rich people are evil,
Yep.
and so he would sabotage himself anytime he started becoming successful. Freaking sucks, man. Hey, we're becoming rich helping people. It's called a win-win.
Yeah. And that's what rich people come to each other to say. That's why rich people are continuously get rich, because they understand like, oh, wait, we're going to do better if we work together.
Yeah.
Whereas poor people like to cannibalize and just like a bunch of chimpanzees, dirty stinking apes throwing shit at each other the whole time. Nobody gets anything done and everybody's covered in shit at the end of the day.
Yeah. And are there rich scumbags? Of course there are.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, you become wealthy by offering things to the world that the world needs. And then they buy it from you, whether it's a service or a product. By being productive and helpful to the world, that is a general formula
Mm-hmm.
of wealth. And you generally benefit the world in that way.
Mm-hmm.
There's crony capitalism and all this other stuff where, drug lords, whatever. But generally speaking, you go back 200 years, most of the world was in extreme poverty or poverty. Now most of the world is not in extreme poverty because of, these corporations do bad stuff, but in general, these corporations have benefited humanity.
Yeah.
In general, they give us good stuff. They give us shitty stuff too, but in general, humanity has benefited from all this technological innovation and all the energy and different technologies, communication, computers in general, lifespans are longer, standards of living are higher.
Yep.
From these evil rich people that form these corporations that offer products and services.
Yep.
You know,
So
that
the thing,
ultimately benefit us
the
more than
thing,
hurt us.
the thing is this here with today's episode, right? This is really important because we all know, we all want to fuck a bunch of girls, we all want to make a bunch of money, we want to have six-pack abs, we want to have 18-inch biceps, we all want to be Giga Chad, right?
Just make
And that's
sure you're happy first and believe in yourself first.
right. And the root of it all is inner game. If you have rock solid inner game, you can achieve whatever you want. Literally almost anything you want. If you do not, it is only a matter of time before you self-sabotage. The dream relationship can come to your front door. The dream job can come to your email box. The dream opportunity for your entrepreneurship can come to you. The dream fitness regimen can be delivered to you. If you do not sort out your inner trauma, if you do not sort out your inner game, you will fuck it up. It is inevitable. You will
Yeah.
absolutely fuck it up. You will ruin it, and you will continue to ruin it until you get your inner world sorted out, because your inner world is always going to match your outer world. A big reason of why
Just a
I'm so
matter of time.
a big reason of why I'm so successful is because I worked on my inner world for years to become the man that can attract the wealth that I have.
Yeah,
Okay.
even before you met me, you had that video you made, all that positive self-belief, and it worked. It helped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're
So
big on that.
once we get your inner world situated and sorted, then your life will blossom into a wonderful thing. Okay. People have done one hypnotherapy session and said, "Oh my God, my life has changed. Fundamentally, I'm like not the same person. I'm getting more successful. My salary has doubled. I get on these dates, all these wonderful things." Like I said, even in November, when I really, me and Ryan were like, "Oh my God, there's like a lot of trauma we missed," right? I had started attracting effortlessly like gorgeous women. And what's funny is like, even though they were super gorgeous, I really didn't need them because I was like, like
That's a
I'm
good
okay.
place to be, my man.
I'm okay without these girls. And it's just like, I'm basically feel like a god. So here's the thing. Ryan and I underestimated how much trauma and how much shit I had inside of me. And from 2019 until 2021 November, we were working on that. However, if we had worked knowing what was going on with me from the very beginning, I could have been fully healed and patched up in 6 months, but it took
Yeah.
me 2.5 years.
Yeah, we only did like maybe 2 sessions the first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so we have really understood the mistakes we have made. We have optimized and we have packaged this up and we have put it all together in the Inner Game Healing Summit. I am telling you, this will be the best fucking investment of your life. I am so confident about that. So
You're going to
if you're
understand what's really going on with you and why you're succeeding, why you're failing, why you're sabotaging yourself, what is really at the core. And you're going to have some tools to, at least to some degree, actually get yourself some benefit.
Yeah.
Like good permanent benefit.
So what you need to do is go to innergamehealing.com, get on the waiting list. The waiting list jumped to 205 people during this broadcast.
Wow.
Take a look at what we're going to be putting together. There's going to be free content going out over the email. We're going to be doing multiple shows, multiple promotions. This was a rushed thing. I only started literally today is like day 13 of promotion. And typically I run it for 30 days, but I wanted to get it out. I wanted to do it right. I wanted to make it happen as soon as possible. Because like I said, this is the nearest and dearest thing to my heart right now. This is the only thing I can think of And it feels like this is the most ethical thing to do, because I could put out body language mastery, I could put out salt, I could put out pandemic pickup, but if you're not mentally equipped to take these success principles and get the results, I'm going to feel like a piece of shit, because I know that I'm selling the product to somebody who doesn't know how to fucking use it. And so I want to do the right thing. I want to lead the year with sorting out the inner game first, and then we go into all the other stuff. Brandon Lilly, 9.99 super chat says, want to ask if it's normal to emote for days after clearing trauma. I did Fowler's self-hypnosis 2 days ago and have been in a state of sadness / emoting since, or would it be another issue to address?
Shoot me an email, but that's it. It happens sometimes. So I have to talk to you about your specific situation, but you're going in and digging stuff up.
Yeah.
And if it lingers for any longer, then I mean, it could be you dug it up and didn't clear it properly. And I would do more self-hypnosis and clear the rest of it out, honestly. But you're digging stuff up. And I have had people tell me, I did a session with you, Ryan, or I did a self-hypnosis, and the next day I felt terrible, and then after that I felt amazing.
Yeah.
And it was that you dug this stuff up, and it was still processing getting out of you.
Yeah.
But if it lasts more than 2 or 3 days, then I think you dug some stuff up and didn't send it away fully. I would do another session and really focus on maybe journal out. Ask yourself, when I did the session, was the trauma, did I connect with the trauma, but is it resisting leaving? Did I not get it all the way out? Is there any resistance there, like it doesn't want to go? And journal out and ask yourself why. It could be resisting leaving. Maybe it's not all out, or maybe you cleared some trauma, but you dug up more than you actually cleared. But here's the thing: the more you do this, the better you get at it, and the more you're clearing. So, keep doing it. And the number one key in my self-hypnosis is, if you feel that trauma, and I have you imagine this tornado and it sucks it out. If that trauma is going down, let's say in the session your trauma got to an 8 out of 10, maybe the tornado got it only to usually the tornado will get it down to a 0, where it's whatever you felt is gone. Maybe it went from 8 out of 10 down to a 3 out of 10. You couldn't get it any lower. Keep doing it. You'll get there. You'll clear the rest of it out. Keep doing it until it all gets gone. But it sounds like didn't get rid of all of it. Shoot me an email, but also journal and ask yourself, is it resisting leaving? And then you can ask out loud, ask your subconscious out loud, why is it resisting? Journal that out. You can shoot me an email.
Journaling is a very effective way to get a lot of things out of your mind, kind of organize your thoughts, and as a way of just like kind of detoxing a little bit, just letting everything out in the form of writing.
Yeah, and use your intuition. Don't be too analytical. You can be a little analytical, but don't get too much up here. Be feeling it and intuitively writing out just whatever comes to you flows. Yes. Let it flow out.
Definitely. Well, it has been a wonderful broadcast. We hope that you guys got some benefit. We've gone for 2 hours now. Feels like 30 minutes, but it was a great show. Ryan, you are the fucking man, bro.
Thank you.
You are seriously the man. We're going to get Ryan's thing fully automated soon, and we're going to start distributing it on a mass level. But until then, guys, go check him out, innermasculine.com. Go check him out on YouTube, Inner Masculine. We're getting the full party started this year with him and his brand. We're really going to take this to a global level. We're just at the beginning of it, but this is really the direction that we're both going in, because it just seems like the most ethical thing to do.
Well, and the results are so powerful, man.
Yeah, that too. And like the thing is this too, like a lot of guys think they want to fuck a lot of girls. They think they want to make a lot of money. They think they want to have 6-pack abs and squat 600 or whatever the fucking case may be. But really, sometimes that stuff is just driven by insecurity. Mm-hmm. And once you get your inner game sorted out, you're like, oh wait, I don't need to fuck a bunch of girls. I just want to have one girl, or I just want to make a little bit of money, and I want to do things. You do want to do things from a more healthy standpoint. So, thank you, guys.
Hey, man, I have my dream job. I'm making 120 grand a year, which is good money, but I'm super happy and I'm super free, and I'm not working 80 hours a week to make 400 grand a year.
Mhm.
Hey, man, you got a great life. Congratulations to you. And some people, you're on another path and it's like, let's become a multimillionaire. And that's what you're meant to be on. You're happy doing that. Go for it. But it really is about you getting what you want and not doing this to impress anyone else or to be good enough. Just getting what you want. You're already good enough.
That being said, guys, we'll see you here tomorrow. I'll be back with my good friend Mark from Mark's Inspiration. There's gonna be he's a new general in the army, in the Hot Dude Army, and you're gonna love what this guy has to say. I truly fucking love Mark. This guy is such a endless fountain of wisdom. You're gonna love what he has to say. We'll see you guys tomorrow.